chose not to have the surgery. He chose to rest and relax and hope it goes away. And then he ended.
We took a look at Gilmore, and if we got Gilmore, we win in the division. I feel like you know what I mean. I feel like Stephon Gilmore.
Richard Rodgers. He was with our team over the last couple of years. But this is about our fourth time picking him up. What does that mean for?
Welcome to another episode of BIRDGANG Nation Sports Talk. I'm your host, BIRDGANG 31. Now today we have a very special guest from the Philly Sports Alliance, Mr. Ryan REIS. How you doing today, my guy? Welcome to the show.
What's going on, bud? Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem, man. Go ahead and give a breakdown. Let some people know where you're from and so a little bit about your network there you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Philly Sports Alliance was basically three kind of podcast groups that were all doing the same thing. We kind of just came together. Phillyverse, which was something I started many years ago, Driveway Athletes, and the CEV Sports Network. So we all got together and created the Philly Sports Alliance, and we have a network of about 10 shows going on right now, pretty much every day of the week, covering, Birds, Sixers, Phillies, Flyers. We even got a couple of wrestling shows, an MMA show on the way. So it's pretty much everything Philly sports, man. It's awesome. We just talk sports all day, man, just like you.
Oh yeah, man. It's always good to talk sports. I'm mostly just the Birds, but I do love bleed green and I love talking about my Birds all day, man. So how do you feel about this team? Give me your take right now. You've seen 3 preseason games. You've seen the training camp like everybody else. I don't know if you've been to any of the joint practices or seen any of the joint practices. But how do you feel about our Birds this year?
I think coming into this year before training camp, I was pretty down on them, honestly. We're coming off a pretty bad year. We have Jalen Hurts, who I think everybody's pretty sick of hearing it, but this is the make or break year for Jalen Hurts in a way that we're going to know how the direction of this franchise is going to go based on how he does. Mm-hmm. So, obviously I was thinking 4 or 5 wins, honestly. But I've been to one of the joint practices. I got a chance to go down to NovaCare and actually watch one of their practices live. And just seeing some of the games, second game was pretty bad, but I feel a little better about them, honestly. I'm thinking 6-7 wins, maybe potential more. I'm really liking our offense. It's a young core. I think, if Ertz is here, that'll only help things. And obviously our offensive line is when healthy, is right, one of the best in the league. And so the offense, I'm feeling pretty good. Again, likewise with the team, I was pretty down on the defense in the beginning, but seeing the defense, seeing the maturation of Alex Singleton, seeing the linebacker group in general is the best. Honestly, it's the best linebacker group we've had in a very long time. And the defensive backs, same thing, the best defensive backs we've had in a very long time. And we all know everything about that defensive line. It's going to create problems. So I'm actually really, really high on this defense. And I think based on everything we've just seen in the joint practices, they shut down the Patriots and the Jets. You know, the first team defense looked great when they were out there in the preseason games. So I'm feeling pretty good, honestly. And I'm really thinking, you know, 7, maybe 8 wins. You know, things could go the right way. People stay healthy. You know, it might be enough to win a division, shockingly.
Yeah, man. Like I understand exactly where you're coming from. You know, I am more on the optimistic side myself. I'm going 12-5, maybe even 13-4, depending. You know, if everybody can stay healthy, that's the biggest key to our
That is
team.
so key.
You know, with the talent that we have, you know what I'm saying, and all the new schemes, all the new plays that we're going to be coming with on offense, that got me super pumped up. You know, I love what Nick Sirianni's doing, keeping everything close knit. You know what I'm saying, like keeping it tight to the vest so he can have an advantage going into these first, you know, 4 or 5 games and open up the season, because those are, to me, our toughest games are our first 6 games.
Definitely.
So if you can have any kind of advantage going into those 6 games, then I think you make it through there where, you know, 4-2, 3-3, somewhere around that range, then you're going to be looking good, because, you know, the schedule gets a lot easier. We got a 4th place team schedule. And like Nick Sirianni said, you know, I'm not worried about none of the preseason games that our starters didn't play. You know, he says he played 7 preseason games already with everybody, you know, with them joint practices. So I believe them. You know, I have faith with these guys, and I think that they're definitely doing things the right way. As you see, it did save our injuries. We don't have too many big injuries on our roster. None of our key players are hurt right now. They're all going to be able to go to this first game, you know, full steam ahead, all full health. And I think that's have something to do with keeping them out of some of these preseason games. As you see around the league, all these players, these star players are getting injured, you know, and different teams are playing these meaningless games, you know. And I'm glad Nick Sirianni didn't do that with our boys. So we shall see what happened with that one.
Yeah, it's definitely a kind of a topic of yeah, absolutely, Nina, I love it. Yeah, it's definitely a topic of conversation of whether or not to play, you know, your starters or not. You know, you have teams like Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes does not need to prove anything to anybody, right? But he's out there, even if it's for, you know, 2 series, he's still out there. So, you know, I kind of like this idea of maybe let's resting them just because of the injury history for, you know, the last couple of years with this team, and let's see what we got. Let's go. Let's get in there healthy. So, Jason,
right,
love that.
JP, and glad they finally finished with that experiment.
Yeah, right. I'm glad we are too. But as you said, you know, if they can get through this first stretch of 5 or 6 games, you know, with a couple of wins, I'll tell you right now, I'll change my tune. I'll change my tune 100%. So, honestly, I think it's going to be tough. I think if we come out there with even more than 1 win, I'll be really happy, honestly.
Yeah, like I really think, you know, with these young guns, I made a video on them on my channel. If you check out, you guys check it out sometime. But the young guns are coming this year, you know, and this is the first year we have all this, you know, momentum going to the season where everybody's doubted us early. You know what I'm saying? We're not waiting for the underdog role in week 13. We're not waiting for the underdog role in week 7. They start out the beginning of this preseason doubting us. You know, you've seen the list out there. You've heard the national media just destroy our team, say how soft they are, how they're not going to win the game. They're going to be a 3-win team. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Hurts is a 40th best quarterback in the league. Come on now. This guy showed you in a small sample size with the B team that he can ball. You know what I'm saying? He definitely have a high ceiling. And I think you've seen him over the whole offseason just progress and get better and better and better. You know, every time you seen a joint practice highlight, it was something spectacular that you seen, like, whoa. And all these things are accurate. They're all accurate balls. You know, he's putting the ball where it needs to be every time. And these guys are going out there and make plays. You know, I think with our offense, like I said, I call them the young guns. You know, we got Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, Quez Watkins, Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert, and who else? Quez Watkins, Jalen Reagor. Yeah, all 6
of them if he makes a squad.
Definitely. You know, you still got Kenny Gainwell. The last preseason game, Kenny Gainwell showed you that he is a slasher. He can catch. run. He can do whatever you need him to do. I really think that he might be moving up the depth chart come the beginning of the season. He can show up and show out early. So,
Yeah.
like our offense is going to put a lot of points up. I think there's going to be a lot of, single season records broken with this offense. Like I said, as long as everybody stay healthy, I can see it, because this is the first time in a very, very long time that I've seen so many skill position players be such, have such high upsides to them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, when you look back at the history of this team, yeah, you might have a position group that might be, kind of young, and I've never seen it this young as an overall team. And, Chris had said earlier, Chris Lahiff, Eagles defense and Miles Sanders is the key. While I agree the defense definitely is, offensively, I'll say that Miles Sanders and Dallas Goedert are the key, because they're at the point in their career right now where it's time to take that next step. It's time to, remember when we had Ertz and we were waiting for Ertz to break out, and it took him a couple of seasons, right?
Yeah.
He finally did it, and boom, he was one of the top tight ends in the league. I think Sanders and Goddard are right there where they could take that next step and be in that upper echelon of in their position. So Goddard can take a big step, and if Miles can take a big step, I don't see how this offense isn't going to be balling out, because the young receivers are right there as well. So I'm really, really high on this young offense. And what's great about it is they're so young.
Yes.
Even if they don't take as big as a step as we want them this year, they still have next year and the following year, and they're all cheap. And they'll have a little bit of money to play with after this season, that we can kind of fill in those gaps. And I'm telling you, regardless of what happens this season, if Jalen Hurts is our guy, if he's our guy, this team is going to be primed for a big playoff run in 2022, because we're going to have money to spend, fill in those gaps, and we're going to be young as heck in a lot of spots.
See, another big thing I think is the reason why we are going to be pretty successful on this offensive side is that we're not thinned out. You know what I'm saying? Like last year, Jalen Reagor was at the #1 spot. You know what I'm saying? Where he had the best cornerback in the league as a rookie, guarding him. So everybody wondered about the struggles, not including the injuries and stuff like that, and everything else that COVID brought to our team last year. You know what I'm saying? The whole season setup and everything. But now these guys have enough. This is the first time in a long time we have 3 good young receivers. They're all ready to make big contributions this year. And it's going to take the pressure, Like I always seen Jalen Reagor as being a slot receiver more than being an outside guy, use his skill set to his advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like Jalen Reagor versus the #1 DB cornerback might not be that great of a matchup, but you putting them against a third or even linebacker or a safety, that means he's going to be wide open a lot of the time, making some big plays for our team, with Quez Watkins and Devontae Slim Ripper Smith out on those outsides, stretching that defense out. Because Quez got that elite speed. When I'm watching him, he's starting to remind me of Tyreek Hill. You know what I'm saying? A taller, bigger version of Tyreek Hill, because the boy is fast and like he's blazing down these sidelines right now. And he, the biggest difference this year is you see him going for the ball. He's he's leaping for the catches. He's going out there throwing his body on the line to get these balls. So, I think he's definitely made a huge jump up this year. And I'm happy he got promoted, because most guys didn't even have him making the team, at the beginning of this offseason. And then some people were like, yeah, maybe he'll be the 3rd, 4th receiver. But, he catapulted himself all the way up to the starting rotation. And I think he earned it. And I'm ready to see what he can do with that position.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a great point. Coming into this training camp, I'm pretty sure everybody had the same thought of, all right, well, maybe the 6th receiver, 5th receiver, is it going to be Quez Watkins? Is it going to be Hightower? JJ Arcega-Whiteside's in the mix there. Like, at least one of them might make it, and just throughout training camp, every step, he just got better and got better. And you see that speed. It is elite speed. And, I remember back to, the Donovan McNabb and Todd Pinkston days. Awful days as they were with Pinkston, but they used to do this little
some good games. He had a couple.
So they used to do this wide receiver screen, all the time to Pinkston, and it never worked because Pinkston wasn't that fast, and he didn't
Right.
have that great of hands. And let's be honest, ever since he lost that one in the lights and just gave up on that play, it was over. But they used to do that play all the time, and it didn't work. Now you have the perfect receiver for that. You've already seen him score in an NFL game. You saw him score in the preseason this year. That little quick pass, screen, and boom, he's off on
Goodbye.
the sidelines and he's gone. I cannot wait to see that during the regular season and him scoring, 5 or 6 touchdowns on that. Honestly, I cannot wait for it. I'm so glad that he's risen and ascended himself into that top 3 wide receivers on this squad. You have Greg Ward, old reliable. He's the oldest receiver on the team. He's still like 25, 26. But
Right.
he's the only one with real experience, So I like the fact that Ward now is your 3 or your 4. And honestly, I can't wait to see just the progression year to year with this squad, with those 4, with those 5. If you count Fulgham in there, if he makes the squad,
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Yeah, man. How are you feeling about Gardner Minshew? How do you like the trade? Did you like it? Do you think he's better than Flacco? We let go of Mullins. He was very disappointingly to say. I'd seen Mullins last year, and I was hoping that he was going to bring a spark.
Sure.
Do something productive while he was on the team. It didn't turn out that way for him, but he's out of here now. But what do you think about Flacco, and what do you see Gardner Minshew fitting in here?
So I could not love this trade anymore. And I know a lot of people are enamored with his good old boy style with the mullet and the
Mm-hmm.
drinking a beer and American flag, whatever, this, that, and the other. That's all fun and great. But scheme wise, he is such a good fit for this squad. He would absolutely, God forbid anything happens to Hurts, he could go in there and run the same system. I liked when we got Flacco. I didn't like the money they gave him, and now it's really going to be proving that it's whatever. But again, it was a 1-year deal. I'm not worried about money this year. We'll have plenty of money next year, so that's fine. But I think Minshew, once he gets ramped up, once gets into the playbook and get some practices going, I think he'll be our clear number 2. Flacco will then, obviously jump down to number 3, or maybe we might make a move if a quarterback goes down or something. But and the fact that you gave up a conditional 6th, could be a 5th, but still, I think it's a great trade for somebody with very real starting experience, not only real, but good starting experience. And, he's still young. He doesn't make a lot of money. I think it's a perfect fit for this squad. And, to the people that are, kind of thinking this means more, or, oh no, he's going to. Now, this is Jalen Hurts' team.
Yes.
This is his year. He is going to go and do whatever he's going to do, but it's this year for Jalen Hurts. He's either going to be the guy or he's not going to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of what Minshew is or isn't, Minshew is really just, again, a backup plan. He's me too. I couldn't love it anymore, though, but it means nothing more. It doesn't mean that, we're going to trade Hurts for Watson or any of that craziness that's going around. No.
Yeah, I heard today that Watson said that he didn't even want to come here, so I'm happy about that.
That's true. And
I am
honestly,
good with that, man.
Honestly, I couldn't be happier.
Beginning.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier that he said that, because I don't want no parts of it. Listen, he's a talented quarterback, but there's just too much extra, And I couldn't, honestly, I think the best case scenario for the Eagles right now is that he gets traded to the Miami Dolphins for Tua. And then that way, if Watson's suspended for a year, he's not going to play this year. So Miami's going to have to play their backup. They're obviously not going to be that great. We have their pick, so let them suck and let's get a better pick. That's all I'm saying. Let's get a better pick.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Are you excited to even see, especially if Carson Wentz can play 75%?
Oh, right.
3 first-round draft picks. When Jalen Hurts proves that he's the man this year, we are going to have an amazing team even next year and for years to come.
I can't wait for it. You're absolutely right. You said it perfectly. I cannot wait. If we get those 3 picks and Jalen Hurts is the guy, and we have a lot of money to spend on free agency if we need to,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not only are we going to get 3 young, talented players, but we're going to bring in, some good vets, fill in those holes, whatever we're deficient at. This team's could be pretty stacked going into next year, and the sky's the limit. I'm honestly thinking, if things go right, we could be not only clear-cut division winners, but we could be making a run.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah.
really could.
Anything's possible. We get to the dance, man. Anything's possible. Hey,
Sure.
shout out to the 10 in the chat. Please hit that like while you're in here, man. Help this get out to more, Eagle fans out there across the,
No
YouTube
doubt.
scene there. And yeah, man. Let me know inside the chat, how do you guys feel about Gardner Minshew being on our team this year? Like I said, Garner had a decent season last year. He's kind of a gunslinger. I like that about him. You know what I'm saying? But he's still young. Like you said, he's cheap. $900,000 this year. If we
Right.
can trade, Flacco to one of these teams that need a good backup back there, you know what I'm saying? That will be really good for our cap hit space. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, if Gardner's good enough to be a backup, he can be a nice backup for years to come. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On the cheap, while he's still on this little. I think he's on his rookie contract right now.
Yeah, he's still on the rookie contract, and
Uh,
Flacco is a 3.5 mil for, guaranteed. So again, it was kind of I mean, I understood why they did it. It wasn't the greatest contract in the world, and obviously now that they've traded for Minshew, I'm sure they waited. I'm sure they inquired about him earlier, but again, waiting until the kind of price tag went down. So I'm glad that they did it this way. Again, I'm not worried about money this year. If we end up having to pay $3.5 million to Flacco and he sits there and holds a clipboard, oh well, you know what I mean? It's not going to be in the squad next year. It's not going to matter. We'll have Minshew and hopefully Hurts is the guy, and we'll be we don't even need to worry about it.
Yeah, because I am definitely hoping, like I said before, I do not want to see a backup quarterback play this whole season. It's time to get back like the rest of the good elite teams out there that don't have to worry about their backup quarterback playing. You know what I'm saying? Like you see Hurts deadlifting 650 with the lineman over there. You know what I'm saying? He's a little bit stronger than the quarterback we had before. And I hope that, that can translate to 17 games this year, because I would love to see it. And if he makes it all 17 games, you're looking at an MVP candidate. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, Jalen Hurts has never been a loser. You know what I'm saying? And he's a very determined guy, and he is definitely, sharpened up his accuracy, and you already know what he can do with his legs. He's not no Lamar Jackson, but he's definitely deadly with them legs to get first downs, to keep drives going, and keep the momentum of the team going. So, we're going to see about that one. My next question was, did the Eagles do enough to you? I know we kind of talked about it earlier, but did they do enough to, this offseason with the joint practices and all that, to make you feel confident that the starters, and all the players that are going to be playing, like the first two, starters and backups, are going to be good enough come week 1?
Yeah, like we said earlier, I mean, it's such a great question, and it's such a good debate of whether to play the starters or not. But nowadays, the fact that right now we only have three preseason games, right? So you already have one less. So you're adjusting. That's I think that's why these joint practices are a little bit more ramped up. I think the coaches and from what I can tell, Sirianni is really putting more stock into those joint practices and seeing what the team has, during the Patriots and the Jets, rather than what really happened in the game. Again, obviously you want them to perform well in the game, but for the most part, that's really for the middle to the end of the roster to kind of make a name for themselves. And I think that's just going to be the way it's going to be going forward. I personally think they got enough work in. I mean, we'll certainly see that first game if they're a little rusty in the first quarter, but honestly, I'm happy with it, because what's more important, staying healthy or shaking some rust off? For this team, for sure, it's staying healthy.
Oh yeah.
So that's all I needed to know.
Nice. Yeah, man. Like I said, I think they did a great job, man. And I am happy that we're going into this first game fully healthy. What up, guys? Wolf, my boy Vic 3's in the house. Welcome to the stream, my guy. We got Gene Swift said, if you're down, we can do a live stream together. Heck yeah, Wolf. I'm always down, my guy. I'm always down. You know my DM. Hit me up and we can get something lined up. That's what this show's for. It's not only to give you the updates of the Philadelphia Eagles, but I like to bring out the content creators and all the Eagles, media and people behind the scenes so you guys can get a different opinion and a different sense from somebody else. Because we all got great opinions. We all are here for one reason, and that's to support our birds.
That's right.
Hey, 9 times out of 10, we're gonna give you some better content than some of these national guys are out there doing. Doing all this, our teams and stuff like that.
They don't know our teams like we do, man.
They don't know them. They ain't watching like us.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't live and die by this stuff. They're not obsessed. I swear my wife says it all the time that I'm obsessed. And
yes,
she you should see my whole setup back here, man. It's Eagles everything.
Eagle everything, baby. Eagle all day.
Eagles everything.
We are getting some cuts in. Today we did cut 5 more players. What I'm saying? I was actually kind of sad about seeing my guy Holyfield because, right before the game, I'm sitting there like, hey, Holyfield's had some nice, end of game runs. What I'm saying? Hopefully we can keep him. Maybe at least bring him onto the practice squad. What I'm saying? Because I like what he's been doing lately on the field. But he got cut today. We'll see what happens if he gets picked up by anybody else or if we will bring him back to the practice squad.
Yeah.
But on your opinion, this is going to be actually a 2-part question. I didn't put it all in here. How many receivers are we going to keep? And if and after you tell me that, let me know what receivers you think are going to make a roster. And do you think JJ stand after that touchdown? Are they going to give JJ another chance to make the roster, or is Travis Fulgham staying? You haven't seen too much, but you did see a couple of good catches from Travis Fulgham last game.
Yep.
Or are both of these guys gone? Or are both of them staying? Let me know how you feel that breakdown is going to work out.
As I kind of looked over the roster and I do my own kind of 53-man in my head as I'm sure everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
I really think what they're going to do is I think they're only going to keep 5. What I would like them to do is keep 6. And unfortunately, I think Fulgham may be the one cut here. Sadly, I think Hightower's obviously going to get cut, but I think they'll bring him back on the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
I really would love for them to keep 6, keep Fulgham and JJ, because I as much as JJ really hasn't done much in his Eagles career, I still love his size.
Mm-hmm.
I still love what he can do, and seeing him in practice, and especially when I went to the NovaCare and saw them, at the practice, live up close in person, JJ looks really good in practice. I'm not gonna lie,
he's always really good in practice.
Yeah, he's very noticeable. So I really think there's just something maybe in his head. I don't know what, he can't get over it, but we at least saw a little bit, the other night. And he made that good catch. He got the touchdown, and plus the fact that he's such an early pick, they're not just going to get rid of him. I think he's done enough to kind of stay on the squad another year. I think this season will be telling to see if he's back for the following year. But I think just given all of those things, I think the recipe is JJ stays. And they're going to only keep 5, and Fulgham's going to be the one who's gone. So
what's going to be the 5?
So it's obviously Devontae, it's Rager, it's Ward, it's Quez, and I think it's going to be JJ. Like I said, I'm sad if Fulgham gets cut. Honestly, I think he has that the ability to kind of break off and make some plays, but I just don't think he's really going to get the opportunity to make the squad right now. So sadly, he's gone.
Give me another surprising cut you think is going to be made with the last 27 people getting cut here.
That's a good one. I think not that it's necessarily that surprising, but I think Rodgers is probably again, depending on if Ertz is on this team, I think Rodgers gets cut. Not that he hasn't done anything. I just think, I think with the kind of the play of Jackson, obviously he's still hurt, but I think they're going to want to kind of keep him on the IR and keep the two active tight ends. Just going through, I think I think some of the nice rookies that we got this year. I think Tyree Jackson's probably gone. I liked what I saw out of him, but again, certainly not enough. Certainly not more than say Milton Williams, who's really showed out. So, yeah, I think really there's not going to be too many.
Do you think Diller's going to make the squad?
Yes, 100%. Unless he's traded. There's no way. Even though he's had a terrible camp, and honestly, last year before he got hurt, he didn't really have a good camp up until that point. Even though it wasn't much sample size, but I just don't. Again, first round pick, man. You really just kind of get a long leash, and with the Colts left tackle going down today, maybe they might be talking with the Colts. Carson Wentz is there, Frank Reich's there. Dillard could, again, kind of show in and step up at least in a backup role there. So I think they would probably look to trade him and not cut him.
Yeah. My biggest deal with Dillard, he doesn't play multiple positions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there are other young guys, the Driscolls, the Herberts, the Toss. Those guys can play multiple positions.
Sure.
So that brings them more valuable. Yep. And I know he is a first-round pick, and no one likes to trade away a former first-round pick. But sometimes I feel like either A, we got to trade him. Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily going to get cut, but we definitely need to move on from Dillard, because you don't let some guy that never even played football in life, what I'm saying, except for when the Eagles picked him up in the 7th round, come in here and outshine you on this stage, what I'm saying? That's kind of embarrassing, and he definitely wasn't playing that strong. So it's like, hey, I feel like he's young enough to get something decent for him. Like, he's a first-round pick. He's still young. There's always those coaches out there that was going to be like, hey, I can do something. I can make him, what I'm saying? Like, he's like 23 years old, you know what I'm saying? He's still a big body out there, and I think we need to go ahead and get whatever we can get for him. If you imagine
100%. Yeah, I think we could see some trades by the end of next week. Obviously Ertz, that trade watch is going on strong. Dillard is another candidate for sure. As much as I would like Dillard there, just as far as depth, because our kind of tackle depth isn't the greatest, and again Dillard certainly hasn't been either, but I think the fact of the matter is you have, at least on the starting line, you have 3 all pro bowl right side of the line, from Kelsey all the way to Lane, with Brooks in there as well. So I think there's a lot of offensive line that can kind of help get him to where he needs to go. And we also have a great offensive line coach. So I'd really, I think it would sting if he went elsewhere and turned into at least somewhat of a usable player. So I kind of, again, and I know Howie's not going to want to give up on him readily available. You know him.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to admit that he's wrong,
Right. So. All right. So let's stay on that offensive line. What are you thinking about Landon Dickerson? Are you on the Landon Dickerson side of the train that wants him to sit out, redshirt this year until he gets healthy? Or, are you more like me? Like, I wanted, around week 6, 7, after he's got healthier. He says he's healthy now, but I understand what the coaches are doing, keeping him out, because once you give Landon an inch, he's going to take that mile. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be hard to get backtrack and get him back off that field once you get him on there. And I want to make sure he's 100%, because if he's 100%, this guy's going to be an elite lineman in this league. Do you think we should sit him the rest of the year, or maybe around 6 or 7, give him a chance maybe to beat out a guy like Seamalu? You know what I'm saying? Put him in that guard spot so he can learn right next to, Kelsey, all the calls, and be right there on the line in the trenches, fighting with him, understanding calls, understanding how Kelsey's doing it. So either A, next year we'll move him over to center after Kelsey leaves, or B, just leave him at guard because he's be dominating. Because I think him and Mailata together, those are two giant of men, and they can definitely make some holes for the running back and pass block pretty good, to keep Jalen Hurts upright.
Yeah, it's a great debate, honestly. Yeah, actually, Jay, that's a great point. That certainly could be on the watch there. Yeah, honestly, I really actually like the pick. I know a lot of people were a little confused by it, but when I was kind of, and again, I'm not sure about you, but before the NFL draft, I probably do about 1,000 mock drafts myself.
Oh yeah.
And in that second and third round, I was looking for a center, a center guard, and Dickerson was certainly somebody there. Obviously the injury history, but I think it's going to depend come about week 6 or 7 how the Eagles are doing.
Mm-hmm.
If God forbid, we're heading into week 7, we played 6 games and we're 1-5. I say send them. But if we're 3-3, I say, hey, let's put them out there and see what we got. Because if you're going to go 3-3 out of that first 6, that means you beat some good teams, and the rest of the schedule is kind of cake in comparison. Playing the Lions, you're playing the Jets, you're playing the Raiders, playing a couple other teams that aren't that great. So yeah, I would certainly see what you could do to get him into that rotation. Now it's also going to depend on how well Sayamalo's doing. Sayamalo's struggling even a little bit. I think it makes it an easy decision to try and do that. But if he's dominating and doing well, all right, maybe not. Maybe see how things go in practice and see if he can't beat him out in practice. But
And I just picked him because he's usually, like, out of all of them when they're healthy, he is the weakest link out of them.
You're right.
Malo is good, but he's not a great elite, guard. He's just a good guard. You know what I'm saying? We were training him to be center, so maybe even next year you could swing him over to center if you want to do something like that. And let him play guard because I just think he's so big. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a big, massive.
That left side of the line. So not only do you have the right side, including Kelsey, that's just elite. Then you would have the left side be monstrous. I mean, if I was Miles Sanders, I'd be like, I don't know which way to go. Do I go to the left and just have them maul people and I'll just run by them? Or do I go to the right and just have elite, smart blocking? I think Miles is going to have a great year, by the way. I really do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And can I just say real quick, I'm going to go Popeye's chicken sandwich. Just saying.
Popeyes. Yeah, that's a good chicken sandwich right there for sure. That's definitely a good chicken sandwich. Yep. And then the other debate is, we got Tyree Jackson, and I feel like we're going to be keeping Ertz until around that 6-7 trading deadline. Yep. And then maybe that'll be the time you see him get traded around then, because that'll give Tyree Jackson enough time to get healthy again. He was making some explosive, plays, in practices, and he's a big, fast, physical, tight end there, man. Like, you can't coach 6'8", 250, 4.3 speed. You know what I'm saying? That's just God's gift right there. And to have him, line up with Goddard, that'd be two young, talented tight ends that we can go into the next couple of years with. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really hoping to see, these guys keep Ertz right now. Let him keep building up his trade value. I feel like that's what Howie's doing right now. He's letting him build his trade value back up, because when he tried to trade him before, he was not getting nothing for him. And that's really embarrassing to even say, because Zach Ertz is one of the best tight ends we've had in the league for years. You know what I'm saying? But he needed to go out there and he needed to build that trade value back up. So then now, we can end up, seeing him make a couple of touchdowns this first couple of games, get a couple of, nice 50, 60-yard games with a couple of touchdowns behind Dallas Goedert. So then teams can give him what he wanted to get for him. I'm pretty sure he only want like a 3rd or a 4th round pick for him. And I think Zach Ertz is worth that.
Yeah, no, 100% he is. And like I said, obviously Jackson's going to, be on the IR to start the season. And what he's done so far in training camp in the preseason, It's been amazing considering he was a quarterback and transitioned just so well. Again, I go back to when I was there live at the NovaCare complex. Again, he was very noticeable. And to me, that's the mark of somebody who's, if you can stand out like that in a sea of Eagles players and there's this, that going on, there's a lot, it's very busy. And he was another one that was very noticeable. He, ran clean routes. He caught the ball well and went through, his would-be tackles. So I'm excited, to kind of get to that mid-season point and start seeing him in some of the games. And you're right. If I think it makes it an easier decision to trade Ertz. When you have somebody who can run that 2-man tight end set. So, I'm excited to see what's up.
Yeah. I was just trying to get that link on because I'm on my phone right now, so I'm trying to get that link inside the description for Birdman, man. I forgot to do that part, before the show. I usually always gets it in there, but Mr. BIRDGANG's on it right now. Or if you're on your computer, I don't know if you can do it or not.
Yeah, let's see if I can.
Let's see. He said, Ertz is the Rod Tidwell of the Eagles.
That's pretty funny. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I think it'll work out perfectly. And I honestly think maybe that injury wasn't so bad, but that's a good spin to put on it, is to hold him back for now. You know what I'm saying? Let Ertz get this, get his stock built back up. You know what I'm saying? So right around there, you make a trade, you get this guy coming back. We'll know once the trade happens and the health status of Mr. Tyree Jackson around that time. If all of a sudden he's magically back at practice, then that's what they were trying to do. They're holding him back for that. So that give him some time behind the scenes to work with him. Let him get familiar with the playbook. Let him see some calls. Let him get a real feel for the NFL tight end position. And then by then we'll be able to pull the trigger, maybe give him like a week off, and then bring him back into the fold. And I think that'd be a very, like you said, we're just getting bigger up front. With those linemen, especially we got Landon in there, all these guys, everybody's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely excited to see what this offense is going to do this year.
Yeah, and we've been saying it, for a lot, but yeah, I mean, there's just so much young talent on this squad, and I'm just really excited to kind of see it all play out. And again, with last year, kind of with fans not being in the stands, and it was just such a weird year. It's I can't wait. I cannot wait to finally get in there and start seeing some real games. It's going to be electric. That first game against San Fran,
How good do you think Milton Williams is going to be on that defensive side of the ball? We've been on the offense for a while. How good do you think this guy is? Because I was shocked when Fletcher Cox came out. I think this is your link right here. We got thank you, Mr. BIRDGANG. We love you. How good do you think Milton Williams is going to be? Do you think he's going to be a transcending player? One of these elite guys that just waiting for his opportunity to start so he can dominate? Or do you think it's just the preseason? He's getting a little overly hyped, and he'd probably just be a good rotational player.
No, I think I can usually tell when it's one of those players that kind of the preseason heroes, where they come out of nowhere, they have a great camp, and then you never hear from them again. I feel like every other year, there's always somebody, but no, I don't think that's him. I think he's going to be a good rotational player for this year. And I think he's going to I'm thinking more kind of like a Josh Sweat in that elk of hey, maybe not getting all the playing time, but went in there being disruptive and trying to force your way there. And, again, he's behind Cox and he's behind, Hargrave. So unless one of those two kind of aren't here anymore, he's probably not going to get a chance to start, but he'll be in the rotation and he'll be disruptive. And I think we're going to think of him as a Josh Sweat type, where man, we just got to give him an opportunity to start, and he'll be disruptive. So I like him a lot. Honestly, I think that was a was a great pickup, great selection, and I'm glad that we're trying to replenish the interior defensive line for sure.
And if we keep him, do you think that'll make it a lot easier for us to say if Flex don't want to restructure his contract, coming next year, and he decides, we decide to do something with him next year, that he could just slide right on in there? Because, we're going to have some key veterans, come the end of this year. If they don't want to re-sign these contracts or restructure these deals, you know what I'm saying? And my deal is I'm a huge Fletcher Cox fan, like huge. I do think he's the second best, defensive lineman in the league, behind Aaron Donald. But Aaron's making that money, and him and Hargrave are both making that quarterback money, but the sacks aren't there. And I understand what people say. Aaron's the better pass rusher, and Fletcher's a better run stopper. But when you get paid that kind of money, I think you need to pull the sacks in too. It gotta be full circle, because if not, let us pay you $10-12 million to be a good run stuffing lineman. Don't take all of our cap money and not produce with all the big numbers.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think that's always been kind of something on the defensive line is they may not show the stats that we're all accustomed to seeing. With the sack numbers, the tackle numbers, this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of what Cox does and Hargrave as well doesn't really show up on the stat sheets as much. I think they're a great tandem for stopping the run. And obviously Brandon Graham kind of gets his, and Barnett and Sweat, and those will be the ones kind of getting the sacks. But we've never really been a huge sack number kind of squad in at least recent years. And so, I think it's kind of hard to quantify, someone's value, especially Cox, where it's clear that he's very dominant, but those numbers don't always show up. So I appreciate it, Birdman.
Yeah, you just got 3 more. Jay got you on there. Nina's got you on there. Hey, much love to all you guys in the chat for support, man.
Yeah,
that's the thing, you never can have too many good Eagle content creators and people to watch them talk about them birds. So,
absolutely,
much love to you guys showing that support.
Yeah, thank you, Nina.
Yeah. So, and how do you feel? Like we talked about a little bit earlier too about the linebackers. Do you think the Eagles need to, maybe come these cuts and we get some more linebackers? Maybe pick up a veteran linebacker, off the streets to help go with these young bucks, or just go ahead and, we got Singleton, we got Wilson, and we got a couple of young guys. Let those young guys keep developing.
Yeah. Well, so anybody who's, I've been podcasting for almost 13 years now.
Nice.
And anybody who's ever listened to any one of my hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of shows knows that I am a big linebacker guy.
Yeah.
I love linebackers, and I personally think if you have a great set of linebackers, it makes your defensive back's job a lot easier, and it makes your front four's job a lot easier. So I'm always up for upgrading. Now, I like the signing of Eric Wilson. I think he finally got an opportunity to show out last year in Minnesota. And, he came away with 100+ tackles, and I thought he played really well. And he's shown this offseason that he's a very good linebacker. And I think we're going to be very, very happy with not only Eric Wilson, but with the continued progress of Alex Singleton. And again, we don't know exactly what Gannon's going to be running defensively. I think from what I can tell, it's going to be a multi-defensive scheme. So
like on Madden, we call it the multiple defense.
Yeah, multi
you
right.
You do a little bit 3-4, do a little bit of 4.
Right, yeah, you can do whatever. Exactly.
Under, over, whatever.
We have a lot of players that can play multiple spots. So we're definitely going to see a lot. So we're very used to, as Eagles fans under Jim Schwartz, where it's mostly a two linebacker system. The third linebacker really only played about 19 to 20% of the snaps. So we're kind of accustomed to that. So I think we do have we have 2 linebackers that I would feel comfortable playing those 2 linebacker sets. Now the third one, TJ Edwards, has certainly been balling. Sean Bradley's shown some flash. Davion Taylor shown some flash. I think the last two that I just mentioned are still pretty raw, and definitely could use another year or two before they really kind of fully blossom. But I'm always in favor of going out and getting somebody to improve your team, no matter what. Again, I think those two young kids, Bradley and Taylor, this is their second year. They certainly, haven't kind of reached that point where, they're grabbing significant minutes, but I'd still be okay with it. Now, granted, I don't know anybody that's necessarily out there to get, but let me tell you, the draft came around, I was all about Parsons, and I was just in love with him. And when we traded up,
first round linebacker for some reason.
They never do. Not since 1979. It's unbelievable.
I hope with 3 next year we do. We end up, we have 3 on Howie. Because I knew corner.
And linebacker, and then whatever else for the third one.
Even this year, after we took Devontae Smith, I knew that lineman was coming in the second round because they like drafting linemen in the first. And I knew if Howie went away from that in the first, he was definitely going to come back around and get that lineman. But with 3 of them, baby, you can get a lineman, a safety, a cornerback, and a linebacker in that first round, to help out this team. Because we need one. You see all these other good defenses, they have drafted these young stud linebackers that help their defense. Tampa Bay drafted a stud linebacker. The Pittsburgh Steelers always drafted stud linebackers. The Ravens, all these feared defenses. Even Dallas with Parsons, man.
They got Parsons. They got Jabril Cox.
And I wanted
they already had Smith.
And he dropped. And I wanted Jabril Cox.
He dropped. Tell me about it. Every year for the draft, that's the first thing I look at and I dive into. I dive into all the linebackers. I watch film. I anything I can consume about those linebackers, I will absolutely do. And I usually get a pretty good feel for, at least 1 or 2 linebackers within the draft that kind of end up being, the upper echelon linebackers in the NFL. And sure enough, Eagles never in that conversation. Even though every year I'm like, come on, this will be the year. We got to do it this year. But sadly, I didn't get my wish this year. But believe me, I'm more than happy with Smith.
Are you worried at all about our safety position going into the season? We got McLeod. He says he's ready, but we got to be very cautious with that injury he's had.
Sure.
Now Kayvon getting his what was it, a growing or something?
Yeah, hopefully it's just a small thing.
Hopefully that thing. But then even behind that, you got Jacoby Stevens haven't even really been practicing, but he's a linebacker / safety, tweener guy. So, you really don't have too much depth. But we've seen Epps play a little bit in the preseason, and he actually had some decent reps back there, but it wasn't nothing special to be like, okay, Epps, go play some ball for me.
Right, yeah.
Are you concerned at all about that safety depth?
Yeah, I think that could be one of the spots in next year's draft that we try to target as well, because, McLeod ain't getting no younger, and he's also been injured the last couple of years. And when healthy, I think he's a very good safety, and I definitely like the addition of Anthony Harris for sure. I think we plucked 2 really good players from Minnesota. He had a down year for sure, but the skill's still there. It's not like he's that old where he couldn't bounce back. So I like the fact that the 2 of them are there, but. Yeah, Kayvon Wallace, I'm hoping, again, it's one of those young kids that just kind of progress and fight his way into that starting lineup. Outside of that, though, you really got nothing. I mean, you mentioned Epps, but let's be honest.
And Andrews, I guess.
Andrews.
That's a guy or something like that.
Honestly, I think solely because of their lack of talent, I think they're probably going to keep 5 safeties. And that might be what takes away from that 6 wide receiver spot, honestly.
So are you counting Jacoby as a safety, or are you counting him in the linebacker mix?
I don't know.
I think that's why maybe
I don't know if he makes the squad.
You don't think Jacoby's going to make it?
I don't know. I think he is square on that bubble.
He's definitely on the bubble. He hasn't played enough.
No, exactly. And that's what I think is going to be his downfall. He just didn't get. Now, granted, he'll probably, what the practice squad. I think you got what, like 16 people,
Yeah,
so
you got a couple.
you can bring everybody and their mamas onto the practice squad. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm worried about that. He'll be there, but yeah, I just don't think he don't think he did enough to make the squad, unfortunately.
But then, what 5 safeties would you keep then? Cause I
Uh,
can name the 5. Well, what Graylin Arnold, uh, you know,
well,
Epps,
yeah, I mean, let's see. It's yeah, so McLeod, although again, I'm not sure of his status for week 1, so he could be a a temporary IR spot. But yeah, I think Andrew Adams will make it. Um, oof, trying to think of who else. Obviously
yeah.
Anthony Harris. Obviously Kayvon Wallace. Um,
I just think they're going to probably use more, like you said. And hopefully, that will probably give Jacoby that chance of making it. Because when he's healthy, that's a ball hawk, and he has good coverage skills. You know what I'm saying? I know people think he's too slow to be a safety, and I mean, too slow to be a safety, and too big to be a not big enough to be a linebacker. You
right.
know, but at the same time, he guarded a lot of the top receiving prospects coming out of this year. You see them guard Devontae Smith before. You see them divide guard Pitts before,
Yeah.
Tony and all these guys. You see them making strip sacks and fumbles and stuff, off that. He can be our blitzing safety, is
Yeah.
what I see him using at the hybrid role.
So I figured out who that fifth one was. It's Elijah Riley.
Riley. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I forgot
completely
about that.
forgot about that dude. But yeah,
Did he
I
have
think I think he makes the squad.
Man, that's rough. Like, that's something we're gonna definitely have to be looking when all these players get cut. Because I'm a firm believer there won't be that many, but out of everybody cutting down to 53, there's going to be some key players that are good that just couldn't make it on their squad because they had too many good people ahead of them to
Yeah,
make the squad. To where the point that we might be able to pick one of them safeties up because like even like Wilson, for example. Wilson had a great year last year with the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? But Wilson was so far behind the depth chart when you got Barr and Kendricks over there,
right.
taking up the lane. That kind of made him the odd man out.
Absolutely. So
So
yeah, no, and I think we'll probably, we'll probably keep it at 53, but there'll probably be about two or three people that are on that bubble already, and we'll just kind of, I'm sure Howie will wait and see who gets cut, and potentially there's probably
because
going to
this
be a
year,
move or two there.
again with the practice squad, we're gonna be able to, if we want to, bring up 2 a week, right? That's
Yeah,
how.
I think that was the rule last year is
Mhm.
you can make 2 eligible. So
Yeah, that'd be good, for any of them. And I think that extended the practice squad number a couple too. So, hey, man, we shall see how it works out. I'm not worried about. I'm just hoping that we can finally shed this injury bug.
no,
I think Nick Sirianni did a good job this offseason. So far, what he said he's going to do, he's been doing. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And we're going into this week, one healthy. Barring anything in the next 2 weeks of practice. Going into the season looking good. So. One thing I like to do when all my first time guests on my show, I like to do your all time Eagles team. This is a list made by you. I'll give you the position, how many players I need from the position, and
okay.
you give me the players. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about right or wrong answers. These are all Eagle players, so they're always the right answer. But I love seeing, like, every time I do this, there's always a new person that made the list, that
I'm
wasn't
sure.
previous list. I love that part about it. So we're gonna go ahead and start it out. Give me your quarterback and who's backing them up.
Oh, ugh. I mean, this is always a tough one. I I unfortunately I have to say McNabb. He was the most successful quarterback in our history,
Yeah.
numbers wise, and obviously wins wise. And sadly, he didn't win the big one. But um, yeah, I'm gonna have to have him as a starter, and I'm gonna have to have Randall as his backup. That's my personal favorite. But um, yeah, I
It's
think
your list, baby. You can put it
yeah,
Randall, then McNabb backing them up. It's your list. You don't have to do all that. It just has nothing to do with no
maybe
stats.
I'll have them both out
Your
there
list.
in the 2 quarterback sets.
No, 2 quarterback set. Nice. What up, Jalen? Um, okay, so give me 3 running backs.
McCoy, Westbrook, and uh, There's a couple I could put as the third one. I guess I'm going to say Montgomery.
Montgomery, nice. That's a nice pickup. That's a good one right there. I'm not sure that might be a first time for Montgomery making the list.
Ooh.
So we're gonna keep that on the bubble right there.
All right.
Give me 2 tight ends.
Ertz. And can I go super old? Like not that I necessarily know him. Pete Fayos.
Fayos.
He's a Hall of Fame tight end. I mean, you gotta
that
put
is
him in
definitely a new member to this all-time.
Yeah, I mean, he's an All-Pro, 6-time All-Pro, Hall of Fame member. I mean, I think he was on the 1940s All-Decade team. So, I mean, he just skill. I mean, I couldn't put anybody else there, honestly.
Yeah, I like your list too. Shady, Westbrook, and Deuce.
I mean, Deuce is certainly a good one, sure.
I like
He's
that.
a fan favorite, but Montgomery, I think, just had more success over Deuce.
Yeah. All right, now give me 4 receivers.
Whew. 4 receivers. I gotta say Deshaun.
Oh yeah, D-Jack's gotta make the.
Absolutely. I'm gonna say Deshaun. I'm gonna say. Man, there's some really good ones too. He just made the darn Hall of Fame. I can't even think.
Carmichael.
Carmichael, thank you, Carmichael. I'm gonna put Fred Barnett.
Fred Barnett, another good one.
Think another. Let's just say let's say T.O. I like T.O.
Oh yes,
there you go.
T.O. I love it. Now who's blocking for this awesome skill positions? Give me the starting lineup on the offensive line.
Offensive line. All right, I gotta put Runyon. I forgot Quick too. That's fine. I gotta have Runyon on there. I gotta have obviously gotta have geez, why am I blanking today? Chuck Bednarik. I'm gonna have him as my center.
McNair. Oh, I think that's another first timer on the list. I like it.
I'm gonna say on the other offensive line, I'm gonna say Al Wistert, Hall of Famer.
Another one, baby. We're going deep right here.
Bob Brown is one of my guards again.
Bob Brown, another one.
I'm trying to think of another guard. Hey, put me on the spot here. Geez, another guard. Let's just say Jermaine Mayberry.
Mayberry. Yes. Hey, all those linemen right now, except for the first one, are all first time in the all-time list. Good job, my guy.
Love it.
Let's flip over to the defensive side. Who's going to be your starting 4 defensive linemen?
This is tough because the first 2 are pretty easy, and the rest are rough. So obviously Reggie, obviously Jerome.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. I'm gonna say Cox.
Fletcher Cox.
I think Cox will be the other defensive tackle. I'll say Clyde Simmons.
Oh yeah, Big Simmons, baby. I like it. Let's go with 3 linebackers.
Can I use Bednarik again?
I can't double dip them.
All right.
Trotter, yes, actually. Boom.
Seth Joyner. William Thomas.
I like those ones. Give me 3 cornerbacks.
Troy Vincent, Eric Allen, and let's go with Lito Shepherd.
Lito! I love it. I love it. You gotta get Lito in there. I usually go 2, but we're going 3 safeties because usually 2 of them always make the roster.
All right. Let's see. No. My son's joining.
No problem.
Obviously. Hey, buddy. Okay, I'll be up in 2 seconds, buddy. Get upstairs. Dawkins.
Dawkins, obviously that's
I'm gonna say Andre Waters.
Waters, like it.
Ooh, 3, man. Ooh, 3. Who would be my third? Man, I'm blanking on a good third one.
You got Malcolm Jenkins, you got Michael Lewis, Quentin Michael.
Those are all good. Those are all good ones. Yeah, you know what? I'll say Malcolm Jenkins.
Malcolm Jenkins. Yeah,
thank you very much.
Those are the 2. Malcolm Jenkins and Dawkins usually get picked there. That's
that makes sense. It's recent and obviously
Dirty Waters. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Waters.
I love Andre Waters.
And I was a guy. I really liked Michael Lewis. Michael Lewis plays some good safety for us.
That draft was unreal. The fact that Michael Lewis was the forgotten one out of getting Lito and
Sheldon.
Yeah, Sheldon. So the fact that he kind of always gets forgotten about is kind of.
And a lot of new school Eagle fans forgot that we used to have dominating secondaries back in the day. Like those guys always were good. From that pair to Asante Samuels, Eric Allen. Lito, Bobby Taylor. You know what I'm saying? Like
I mean, corners that could have went Asante. I could have went Bobby Taylor. There was too many in my head.
And like nowadays, we just pray to get one good one on the team. You know what I'm saying? Come on, give us some better corners back there. Man. Who's gonna be coaching this team, my guy?
I mean, if it's anybody but Andy Reid, I don't know what you guys are thinking, but it's got to be Reid.
You got to go Big Red, man. Reid. Do you still be cheering for him even when as long as they're not playing the Eagles? Because I'm a guy that I still do cheer for Andy.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so happy you won.
As long as not playing the Eagles, I'm hoping Big Red wins a game there.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was happy when he won. But hey, man, it's a little over an hour. Thank you for your time today, man. Anytime you ever want to chop it up again, come on the show. I'll go on your show, whatever you want to do. Please let me know. Everybody, please hit that like and subscribe to my guy if you haven't already. I know a couple of you guys did, but if you didn't,
appreciate everybody.
Go subscribe. The link is inside of the chat. Yeah, man. Give everybody another breakdown where they can find you at before we get out of here.
Yeah, it's Philly Sports Alliance. We're on pretty much every major social platform. You can literally just search Philly Sports Alliance. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA, Twitch, YouTube. There's my kid again. Pretty much just reach out. We'll be everywhere where you can find us. Instagram as well. So appreciate everybody not only in the chat showing the love and everybody else. We do appreciate everybody in our little network in Philly Sports Alliance. We appreciate you having me on, and my son here does as well, apparently.
All right. Well, hey, y'all, thank you guys again. We still got 10 in the chat strong. Much love to you guys for watching another episode of BIRDGANG Nation Sports Talk. Like I always say, guys, fly, Eagles, fly. And until next time, this was BIRDGANG Nation Sports Talk. I am BIRDGANG 31, and we are out. Peace.
Go Birds.